welcome to Morning Market Call. My name is Jeff Butler, and with me today we have Quincy Beal. He is the Associate Director of Social and Economic Analysis with Gallup. He's the top marketing executive in the Washington, D.C. office and a distinguished BYU alum. Welcome to the show, Quincy.
All right, thanks, Jeff. It's good to be here.
So Quincy, what first interested you in consulting, and then why did you choose Gallup?
Well, you know, while I was finishing up my my master's degree here at Brigham Young University, I was intrigued by the idea of moving into consulting. I liked the idea of working with a broad, several clients on multiple issues. I thought for somebody with a lot of intellectual curiosity like I had, that would be a great field for me. I was also intrigued by the opportunity to work in multiple industries and travel a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely sounds very interesting. But a lot of times when you hear people talk about consulting, there's always this issue of work-life balance. And so, you know, how did you tackle that issue, and you know, how does that work with Gallup?
Right. You know, that is a consideration, especially for a lot of folks leaving Brigham Young who are married, have kids.
Right.
As I was doing my search, I knew that consulting had that element to it, that you work a lot, but that you know you're going to be working a lot of hours and traveling a lot, and that. Although some of that travel was appealing to me, I didn't want to be doing it all the time. And when I did my search, I looked in Vault at the top consulting firms, and I noticed that there was a search for work-life balance, and Gallup happened to be 1 or 2 on that list. I happened to apply and made it through.
Awesome. So now that you're working for Gallup, are there certain aspects of your job that do require you to travel more, or times that you know maybe don't have to travel as much?
Right. In my function as marketing, I wouldn't say I travel that often. I'd say maybe less than 10% of the time. For the people who are more in the consulting roles where they're on site working with our clients, you know, anywhere from 25 to 75% of the time.
Right.
What's nice about Gallup, as they do a good job of helping you have that work-life balance, they're more concerned about the results you produce and the impact you have on their clients, rather than how you do it and where you're doing it from.
Right.
So you don't have to be in the office. You can be working from home. You don't have to meet some kind of schedule. If you're good at getting your job done and you meet the results that your clients expect and that we expect for you, that's all that really matters.
Awesome. That's impressive, I think, for our company to really recognize that and utilize their employees the right way. So what are some of maybe the unique aspects of Gallup's approach to client engagements?
Right. So what Gallup is all about is behavioral economics. So we're looking at the role that human nature, human choices play in all the decisions that they make. And so what we focus on is how does an organization measure the human element, both from an employee standpoint but also from a customer standpoint.
Right.
And how do you optimize and maximize that? So when we look at our customer work, we're looking at, beyond satisfying someone's customers, how do you emotionally engage them? And so we have a science dedicated to emotionally engaging them, getting them connected to your product, to your brand, beyond just price. And then when you look at the work we do on the employee side, we're looking at helping organizations identify the strengths in their employees. How can you get a competitive advantage of getting them to do things that fit what they're naturally good at, instead of telling them to get training on the stuff that they stink at. We also work on employee engagement, and within any organization you've got 3 groups of people. You've got your engaged folks, you've got your disengaged, and you're actively disengaged. The actively disengaged are trying to destroy your company. The disengaged are pretty much just checking in 9 to 5. They're not giving you that discretionary effort, as we say. And then you've got your actively engaged, who they care about the mission and purpose of that organization. And so Gallup's job is to help organizations manage those actively disengaged people out, and then push everybody else in a positive direction so that you can maximize your employee effort.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've witnessed that myself in organizations when, you know, there's someone who is literally trying to sabotage things, and it's like a cancer, you know, it can spread throughout the organization.
Right. And, you know, unfortunately, even in the best organizations, those people exist.
Yeah, for sure. So, we talked about how employees are actively engaged with their clients. What makes someone who works for Gallup successful there, and then how does Gallup kind of measure the success of their employees?
Right. I think bottom line success would be driven by what kind of impact can you make on your client. So at the end of the day, we're helping people solve their business problems. And if you can help them solve their problems, that's what we're looking for. In terms of the qualities that we're looking for in people who are Gallup consultants, we're looking for people who have an entrepreneurial spirit, who are positive, who see the problems but also see the ways around those problems.
Right.
We've got a very positive culture where we're more focused on your strengths rather than your weaknesses. So people who come in with that attitude, that sort of positive psychology attitude of, instead of berating those who work with you and using fear and intimidation to get things done, how do you encourage and cheerlead and be a real leader to get things done? Those are the kind of folks we're looking for.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a pretty exciting opportunity, certainly a very positive one. It sounds great. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you're here on campus actually actively recruiting BYU MBAs. Tell us a little bit about why you're here at BYU and what you want to get out of this trip.
Right. Well, so far it's been a very successful trip. I've really been impressed with the talent that's here in BYU, and not just we're not just looking for MBA talent, although that fits what we're looking for very well.
Right.
But we're also looking for any graduate level talent within BYU, particularly in the social sciences. So it's been a very successful trip, and as a BYU alum, I'm very excited and motivated to bring BYU people back to Gallup, because I think it's a perfect fit for the type of people coming out of BYU with the religious background that they have. It's a great fit for the type of people who thrive within Gallup.
Awesome. Well, that's great, and we sure appreciate you coming on the show today. It's really been a pleasure, and we'd like to invite you all back to see us the next time on Morning Market Call.
Morning Market Call is brought to you by the Marriott School of Management in cooperation with the Brigham Young University Department of Communications. MMC is made possible by generous donations from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams. This show was produced by Jeff Butler, Janessa Cloward, David Wood, and Doug Mumford, with line producing by Beth Grimmett. For more information, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook.